Synergetic journal videos of my individual continuous non-political manifesto. May 11th, 2026. Zone of neutral resonance. The closest approach to eternity and God, Part 16. Christina Herlofson's ongoing Synergetics research project. Since everything humans know as reality is either a positive or a negative condition, this ought to be relevant to any anticipatory starting point as a friendly reminder that seems never to come to mind at the outset of interpersonal communication in various tone-setting attempts between self and others when initiating the evolving universal communication process, TEUCP, Synergetics 440. Metaphysical intellect is synergetically advantaged, respecting its individual economic initiative, awareness, and imagination's inherent ability to conceptually formulate anticipatory design science realities concerning the starting point's positive or a negative condition. This advantage correlates to what continues to be known about the vector equilibrium and the way nature behaves. Awareness of the vector equilibrium coincides with increasing clarity of one's realizable omnirational alternative options in a world that seems far from realizing neutral resonance as a consciously coordinated, thoughtful objective. To omit the vector equilibrium from humanity's local problem-solving economic initiatives technically and literally deprives humans of their natural ability to conceptualize universe's minimum structural system, the tetrahedron, with its empty set vector equilibrium in mind. Awareness of systemic thoughts negatively contrived human conditions in relative sizes need not continue to defeat anyone's preference for peace and quiet as one objective, and in general comprehending what in essence is the closest approach humans will ever know to eternity and God, which is more accurately named UEOM, Universe, Eternal, Omniscient Mind. Humans, by conditioned adaptations to variously contrived manifest forms, are programmed by educated ignorance to reiterate irrelevance and in that process induce emulative behavior. In that process, humans often resort to humiliating anyone's sincerest interest to communicate openly about the vector equilibrium and all the essential polyhedra that simplify potentially reliable cogitations, especially in respect to equilibrium. Awareness of equilibrium seems never related to brain-mind's curiosities concerning the human condition, as great leeway is given to the least economic belief systems wherein little to no knowledge of the vector equilibrium exists, and instead the negative conditions in some size, shape, and form emanating from the PRJMWBSHM, politics, religion, justice, military, war, belief system, hierarchical matrix. From all indications, this matrix emanates from the millennium's old womb of permitted ignorance, even though most humans have not yet been informed that the word womb is synonymous with matrix, originating in Latin from mater, mother, according to Oxford University Press Dictionary and Thesaurus. Many beliefs derive from Latin that continues to survive as language tools, not all of which are compatible with science-discovered economic solutions. The word matrix is synonymous with womb from Latin for mother. Newly acquired awareness of this derivation invokes otherwise unasked questions, such as, for instance, since it is Mother Nature that never allows herself to be caught in a condition of equilibrium, can Mother Nature be associated with awareness of the vector equilibrium? If so, then what conceptual correlations can a mind-brain imagine when attributing a consciously coordinated thought to the always and only coexisting complementarity female and male as well? Can metaphysical intellect associate the male with rudimentary awareness of radiation as a discontinuous conceptioning and the female with gravitation as a continuous conceptioning? These questions correlate with a rather vague memory that can be reviewed in Synergetics 1052.81 through 1052.88. Obviously unaware humans everywhere on Earth have been programmed to omit or ignore the most relevant systemic thought conceptioning while entertaining each other with musical instruments or being indoctrinated by inculcated resonant calls to prayer over strategically placed loudspeakers and or time-scheduled church bells of the PRJMWR factor. Greatest influential precedence is afforded the authority of the R and J factors, potentially harming influence to the most egregious extremes. Egregious R and J factor extremes can occur during anyone's impressive imagination that attaches its behavior to personalized interpretations of some aspect of the belief system storyline, typically the punitory emulation potential. Over the years, those R&J belief systems continue ignoring metaphysical intellect's generalized conceptioning in anticipatory design science fields of thought that can manifest positive conditions commencing from newly conceived awareness of the zone of neutral resonance. With this information to consciously consider, humans of a mind, our evolving species, has at our researching disposal a wellspring of knowledge in Arbitminster Fuller Synergetics, replete with relevant information to advantage our interest in the principles of universal integrity and the gravitational constant compared to the radiational constant that heretofore seemed of no relative significance to comprehending the zone of neutral resonance. Metaphysical intellect can distinguish one zone from another, especially since it is an area of a particular characteristic. And we are synergetically informed of the topological characteristics of universe's constant relative abundance that conceptually correlates with awareness of the tetrahedron and the vector equilibrium. Not starting with universe and or vector equilibrium, but instead starting with any belief systems, religion will take us back to square one. When the political, religion, justice scenarios at that time and place vied for top position for outmaneuvering the other's dominant control over the masses. In turn, the status quos of religion expected loyal scribes to further enable the power so to do, outwitting the royalty of kings and queens since they had no defenses against the power of God, which, by any sound word name, is the religion's chosen deity. It enabled the patrons of religion as scribes and artists like Leonardo da Vinci, 1452 through 1519, an Italian Renaissance artist, architect, engineer, and scientist, who is famous for painting The Last Supper. Michelangelo of that period in history was commissioned to further enhance religion beliefs. His famous paintings portrayed lifelike icons such as Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel ceiling in Vatican City, commissioned by Pope Julius II. As but one vivid example, it is so eye-catching as a type of illustrated proof that does not, in fact, generalize the concept to the atoms with which every form of life consists. Michelangelo, that's what it is. Michelangelo, born on March 6, 1475, living until February 18, 1564, died at age 88. Coincidentally, Bucky Fuller died at age 88, and my birthday is February 18, and I am 88 years old. The day I discovered the relative coincidences. What are these numbers of dated years possibly to mean other than some vague time sense concerning newly inspired correlations to the essential zero pulsation in the vector equilibrium? The vector equilibrium imaginably would have inspired Michelangelo to paint less tortuously writhing depictions of the heaven-hell symbolism of the Last Judgment, 1534 through 1541, 7 years shown in Wikipedia.com. His painter's talent seemed always to be refocusing male-female human forms toward the center, but not having the conceptually inspiring geometries of nature's coordinate system zero pulsations in mind, which would not at that time have impressed the power of the church, since there is no ingrained rewards and punishments when conceptualizing zero pulsation is the closest approach, the nearest thing to eternity, and what I more accurately call universe eternal omniscient mind. Prior to the Renaissance, during the medieval period, the church was the dominant patron of the arts. It used visible art as a powerful tool to convince people of various biblical stories. It aided and abetted religious doctrine, which is essential for indoctrination, a type of validation for religious figures, Christ, Virgin Mary, various saints assisting as aids for instruction and worship. Artists help build the wealth that continues to this day. Let's review Synergetic's 1076.10 respecting the knowledgeable concerns for the most accurate description of the term virgin, and quotes, virgin equal primitive, end quote, in Synergetic's 1076. Awareness of the primitive coincides with second powering, the universal integrity, second powering congruence of gravitational and radiational constants, and a conceptual genesis, as recall in quotes, conceptual equal imaginable, end quote. There is no cosmic logical reason for any version of Christianity to exclude its potential evolutionary intellection from these newly informing substantiations with respect to the nearest approach to eternity and universe eternal omniscient mind. This is simply because of the reenacting articulations that in truth maintain adamant adherence to obsolete concepts. Many obsolete concepts are based in false premises identified by our 21st century humanity. Our 21st century humanity is more than ready to set new stages in the world of ideas and integrities, having become exhausted by the atrocities of ignorant educations, including inculcating indoctrinations by competing religions that do not value supporting all life, nor respect the value of TLBSWME, truth, love, beauty, symmetry, wisdom, maximum economy. Instead, a worshipping death religion, which is a prevalence of the Muslim mentality and war games in that part of the world, spread the enmity states across the globe, evidencing no conscionable intention to value life more than their inculcated imaginations, emulative strategy, inversely playing with death as the nearest approach to their God, Allah, said to be the greatest. Consciously concerned humanity truly must start somewhere if we hope to reduce the tolerance magnitudes of the reenacting residual inaccuracies of observation and articulation. Herein, I include for anyone's research and development Arbitminster Fuller's list under conceptual genesis and conceptual geometry in Synergetic's Dictionary, The Mind of Arbitminster Fuller. Conceptual genesis. C. Event embryo, locus fix, beginnings, primitive regeneration, nature in a corner, resolutions, resolvability. C. Modelability, September 12, 71, point, February 1972, geometry of thinking, November 13, 75, conceptual geometry. C. Brain, November 30, 72. Critical proximity, February 15, 73. In, out, and around, November 71. Tetrahedron, November 71. Until next time, thank you. Gratefully, faithfully, eternally, Christina Herlofson. Contact herlofsoncristina@gmail.com.